There is a certain kind of smile that doesn't quite reach the eyes. It appears at the right moments, responds politely to jokes, reassures others that everything is fine. From the outside, it looks like confidence, resilience, even happiness. But behind it, there is often something much heavier. For many people, smiling becomes a way to survive. It becomes a shield, a habit, a quiet agreement with the world that says, I will not burden you with what I am carrying. The psychology of people who hide their stress behind a smile is not about deception. It is about protection. It is about learning, often very early in life, that showing pain is risky, inconvenient, or unsafe. For some, this pattern begins in childhood. They may have grown up in environments where emotions were dismissed, minimized, or punished. Maybe they were told they were too sensitive. Maybe they watched adults struggle silently and learned that strength meant never breaking down. Maybe they became the emotional caretaker in their family, the one who stayed calm while others fell apart. Over time, they absorbed a powerful lesson. My feelings are less important than keeping things peaceful. My role is to be okay, even when I am not. Others learned this behavior through social reinforcement. When they smiled through exhaustion, they were praised for being strong. When they hid their anxiety, they were admired for being easygoing. When they suppressed their sadness, they were labeled positive. Slowly, they discovered that their value seemed tied to emotional performance. People liked them more when they appeared unbothered. They received more acceptance when they stayed cheerful. So they adapted. They trained themselves to mask discomfort. They became experts at emotional camouflage. At first, this can feel empowering. Smiling through stress gives a sense of control. It allows people to function, to meet expectations, to avoid uncomfortable conversations. It helps them move through life without drawing attention to their inner chaos. In a world that often rewards productivity over vulnerability, this skill can seem like a strength, but over time, the cost becomes clear. When someone consistently hides their stress, they begin to disconnect from their own emotional reality. They learn to override internal signals that say, I am overwhelmed, I am hurting, I need rest. Instead of listening, they push forward, they minimize, they rationalize, they tell themselves it's not that bad or other people have it worse. This emotional self-dismissal becomes automatic. In daily life, this often looks like being fine all the time. When asked how they are, they respond with a smile and a casual, good, just busy. They show up to work even when exhausted. They attend social events when they desperately want to rest. They help others while quietly falling apart inside. They laugh at jokes when their mind is racing with worry. They apologize for being tired. They downplay their struggles. Internally, however, the experience is very different. Under the surface, there is often chronic tension, a constant background hum of anxiety, a sense of emotional loneliness, even when surrounded by people. A feeling of being unseen, not because others don't care, but because no one is allowed to see the truth. There may be unexpressed sadness, unprocessed grief, unspoken resentment. All of it gets stored in the body and mind. Psychologically, this pattern is closely linked to fear. Fear of being judged, fear of being a burden, fear of rejection, fear of losing control. Many people who hide their stress believe deep down that if others see their vulnerability, they will be disappointed, overwhelmed, or pushed away. So they protect relationships by hiding themselves. This also connects to perfectionism. If you learned that love and approval were conditional, you may have become emotionally perfect. You learned to present a version of yourself that was stable, helpful, pleasant. Struggling didn't fit that image. So you edited it out. Over time, you forgot that imperfection is human. In relationships, this behavior creates distance even when closeness is desired. People who hide their stress are often deeply empathetic. They listen well, they support others. They notice subtle emotional changes, but they rarely receive the same care because they rarely ask for it. Their partners, friends, or family may assume they are doing fine. After all, they always seem okay. This can lead to quiet resentment, a feeling of, I am always there for everyone, but no one is there for me, not because others don't want to be, but because they were never invited in. Over time, emotional suppression takes a toll on mental health. Research shows that consistently hiding negative emotions increases the risk of anxiety, depression, burnout, and physical illness. The body keeps score. Stress that is not expressed does not disappear. It manifests as headaches, stomach problems, muscle tension, sleep issues, emotional numbness, or sudden emotional breakdowns that seem to come out of nowhere. Many people who smile through stress eventually reach a point of exhaustion. They may feel empty, disconnected, or overwhelmed by small things. They may wonder why they feel so tired when their life looks fine. They may blame themselves for being weak, not realizing they have been strong for too long. There is also often an identity built around being the strong one. When someone has spent years being emotionally composed, the idea of being vulnerable can feel terrifying. Who am I if I'm not the one who holds it together? What happens if I fall apart? Will people still respect me? Will I still belong? So even when they recognize that hiding hurts, they struggle to change. Learning to stop hiding stress is not about suddenly becoming emotionally open with everyone. It is about learning to trust yourself enough to honor your own experience. It is about giving yourself permission to be human. This process often begins with awareness, noticing when you automatically say, "I'm fine," even when you are not. Noticing when you smile out of habit. Noticing when you minimize your feelings. These moments are not failures, they are clues. They show you where old patterns still operate. Next comes self-validation. Learning to say internally, "What I'm feeling makes sense." You do not need to justify your stress. You do not need to compare it to others. Your nervous system reacts to your life, not someone else's. Your exhaustion matters. Your sadness matters. Then comes gentle honesty. This might mean sharing a little more than you usually do, saying, "I'm actually having a hard day," saying, "I've been more stressed than I let on," saying, "I don't feel okay right now." At first, this may feel uncomfortable. You may worry you are being dramatic. You are not. You are being authentic. It is important to choose safe people for this vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world, but most people who care about you will feel honored when you trust them. They will not see you as weak. They will see you as real. Another important step is learning to rest without guilt. People who hide stress often believe they must earn rest. They push until collapse. Healing means recognizing that rest is not a reward. It is a need. You are allowed to slow down before you break. It also means redefining strength. Strength is not emotional silence. Strength is emotional awareness. It is knowing when to push and when to pause. It is asking for help. It is setting boundaries. It is choosing self-respect over self-sacrifice. Over time, as people practice these skills, something shifts. They begin to feel lighter, more connected, more present. They experience relief in being seen. They realize they don't have to perform happiness to deserve love. They learn that vulnerability does not destroy relationships. It deepens them. If you are someone who hides stress behind a smile, it is likely because you learned how to survive in difficult emotional environments. That skill kept you safe once. It helped you function. It helped you adapt. There is nothing wrong with you for developing it. But survival skills are not always life skills. You are allowed to grow beyond them. You are allowed to take off the mask when you are tired of holding it. You are allowed to let people know when you are struggling. You are allowed to need support. You are allowed to feel deeply and still be strong. Healing does not mean you will never smile through pain again. Old habits take time to change, but it means you will notice. You will pause. You will choose yourself more often. You will treat your emotions as messages instead of inconveniences. And slowly, you will build a life where you no longer have to hide to belong, where your smile is not a shield, but a reflection, where your strength includes softness, where your inner world is respected by others, and most importantly, by you. And in that space, real peace begins to grow.